Hi guys, Darth Deuces here, back on the Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today, taking a look at a figure that I'm kind of surprised I got my hands on already. It is Baylan Skoll from the Ahsoka series. Baylan and Shin, I know on Amazon Canada, they're still saying that pre-order isn't coming in until February of next year. And I didn't think we'd see these figures, or I didn't think I'd see these figures until next year. Saw online, some people were starting to find them, and then I went into GameStop, they actually had them on the shelf, so picked up both of them. I'm going to review Shin next. I picked them up despite the fact that these figures have each of them, Shin and Baylan, have one pretty major issue, that being their size. I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. Baylan and Shin, and Baylan especially, I think is probably my favorite new character from Ahsoka. I thought their characters were really interesting and very cool. And it's a bit unfortunate that the figure kind of falls short a little bit. It's not a terrible figure, but the sizing issue, it's a pretty big issue. But I guess first off, we will take a look at the sculpt and the paint, which I think is pretty well done for the most part. The head sculpt is good, and I think the face print is decent. I don't think it's 100% there in terms of likeness to Ray Stevenson. I think the hair and the beard look good. Maybe could have used a little more gray in them, but I do like the wash they applied to the hair. That does bring out a lot of nice detail. Unfortunately, they didn't do a whole lot of it on the beard. But it looks good, and the face printing for the eyes, the eyebrows and whatnot, are nice and cleanly applied. I just don't know what it is about it. I feel like maybe his skin tone's a little too pale. And maybe, I don't know, maybe a wash just to the face or something would bring out a lot more of the sculpted detail. Because I don't know, I almost feel like he looks a little like not battered enough, not aged enough maybe. Like I can see there is sculpted detail there, but it just gets lost in the plastic where there's no paint or anything. So I think it's good. I just don't think it's like 100% there. I do really like the armor. It looks nice. The shoulder pads are good, and they're attached, sandwiched via a ring, just like the Stormtrooper shoulder pads are. So they'll move with the joint, which is nice. I do like this, like, I don't know, this dark greenish bluish kind of like rusty wash applied to the armor. I will say it'd be nice if it was a little more subtle than it is on the figure, because I believe in the show it was quite a bit more subtle, but it doesn't really bother me that much. And the arms look nice, and he's got the gauntlets there that look good, and even some nice little sculpted and painted details. So his little controls on his gauntlet, which is very cool. He's actually got a sculpted and painted ring on the right hand as well. I never even noticed that in the show, so I like that a lot. Very nice. Now on this arm, he has some more little details that look pretty cool. And then the belt buckle looks nice, and he's got just a plastic, like, lower robe sash thing going on. It is made of a pliable material, so it will get out of the way. Underneath, there's not much to speak of. He's got pretty plain looking legs, honestly, but he does have those boots with that same kind of green bluish wash going on there. So that's pretty cool. But look-wise, I think he looks pretty good. I don't have too many issues. Like I said, I think maybe the face likeness isn't 100% there, but it's good enough for Black Series standards in terms of the sculpt and paint, in my opinion. In terms of articulation, he's got the standard dumbbell joint at the base of the head as well as the base of the neck. He actually looks up quite a bit, looks down a good amount, pivots very well, and rotates, so pretty good head articulation, honestly. Shoulders move pretty good. They move out, they rotate. There is a butterfly joint there, which isn't bad. It's one of the better butterfly joints that I've seen on a Black Series. Single hinge at the elbow that goes in past 90, and he's got the new style ball jointed wrists that can go any way you want them to, so that's really cool. Torso joint, it goes back just a bit. Doesn't really go forward. Pivots a fair amount and rotates. Does do kind of a clicking when you rotate. And then hip joints, they go forward. They go out. There's a cut in the robes there, so it goes out no problem. Doesn't have swivel cut thighs. He does have the new joint at the hip that gets a fair amount of rotation. Single hinges at the knees that they go about 90. And hinges at the ankles that go up a fair amount. Don't go down a whole lot. They do get stopped by the sculpt of the boot. And then ankle rockers for a pivot, which you can get an okay rock pivot, but it is a bit hindered again by that boot sculpt. But the articulation, I think, is pretty reasonable. I don't have too many issues with it. In terms of accessories, he doesn't come with a ton of stuff. He just comes with his lightsaber. The hilt is really nicely sculpted and painted. It is made of a really bendy plastic, though. I don't really like that too much. It can make getting it into his hand kind of annoying. And then he has this really long lightsaber blade. It's the same length as Darth Malgus's, I believe. And with Darth Malgus, it kind of made sense because that figure is actually pretty big. And but the long blade here, as far as I know in the show, Baylan didn't have an abnormally large blade, but for the figure they gave him a large blade because he's supposed to be a large character, but they completely messed up on the size. I don't know what happened, but this figure is just way too short. So if I put it in his hand, he grips it fine, but put it in his hand, it just looks like absurdly long. It's not the worst thing in the world. I kind of like the idea of having a lightsaber broadsword. It's kind of cool, but I don't know how accurate it actually is, and it looks kind of weird. You can remove the blade. Of course, you can do that pretty much every Black Series lightsaber, and he does have a little hook on the belt, and you do have the loop. It is kind of a tricky thing. You can get the belt loop or the lightsaber looped on there. It's not like a crazy secure thing. It'll probably fall. Well, I said it would fall off pretty easily, but it's not. It can be a little bit of a pain to get it on though, because the belt hook is made of a really flexible plastic. I don't get why they do that. Probably so it won't break, I suppose, but it can make getting the hilt on kind of annoying, but it does go on there and look pretty nice. I do wish he had his soft goods robe with the hood. You know, those soft goods hoods usually don't work out too well on this scale, but it would have been nice to have the option to display him looking like that, because he did wear the cloak a fair amount. So that's a little unfortunate. But yeah, I guess the last thing to do is just size. Like I said, this figure is, not only is he too short, I think he's also just too small in general. The figure feels like he should be bigger. Like the head should be a bit bigger, the torso should be a bit bigger, the shoulders should be a bit broader. It just feels too small in general. I don't know what happened. But we have Baylan here. And then here he is with Shin, who I'll be reviewing next. And as you can see, Baylan and Shin are like the same exact height at 6 inches. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Baylan's too short and too small, and Shin is too big and too tall. I don't know what happened there. They still look cool together, but the scale just takes me out of it. It's pretty unfortunate. I don't know how they messed that up. There is a fix that you can do if you have some fodder figures. Credit goes to Land Speeder Luke. You can check out his video. He has it on his channel, I think, where he goes into it a bit more. But you can basically, if you own a Reva figure, you can take the upper legs off the Reva figure and put them on Baylan, and it'll give him the extra height. And then Shin, you can give the upper legs to Bo-Katan and or Koska Reeves, so they use the same legs, and that makes her shorter. That might help a bit. I'm not prepared to sacrifice those two figures in my collection to do that. But maybe if I ever find, at least if I ever find an extra Reva for cheap, maybe I'll get it and do it for Baylan. But right now I'm just going to settle, I suppose. Then here he is with Merrick. And I think Merrick is actually taller. Yeah, Merrick looks a little taller, or at least with the helmet, he looks a bit taller, which definitely doesn't make sense. He definitely wasn't taller than Baylan. And here he is with Ahsoka. I do have Ahsoka in a bent stance there. Let me just straighten her out real quick. I'm going to straighten out Ahsoka. She's only just barely shorter than Baylan here. And here he is with her, Morgan Elsbeth. He is a bit taller than her. That doesn't look too bad, to be fair. And then here's her, Sabine, who he is also taller than, but Sabine's actually scaled properly, so yeah. That's pretty much it to talk about. Overall, I mean, there are cool things about this figure. I think he looks good, and he has all the new modern articulation, which is nice, but I wish he came with the soft goods robe. And then the big thing, I could live with him not coming with the soft goods robe, but the scale being so out of whack just really sucks. Like, I don't regret getting the figure, because I'd like to have at least a figure of Baylan, because right now this is your only option. But I'm hoping that maybe Vintage Collection will take a crack at Shin and Baylan and hopefully get the scaling right, because these guys just, yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if there's some confusion at the factory or what, but yeah, the scaling is way off and it really sucks. But that's pretty much it. Overall, if you're a fan of the character, I'd recommend it. if you can get over the scaling being not great, I'd get him because, like I said, unless you're good at customizing, he is your only option for a Baylan figure right now. So for me, I really like the character. So regardless, I wanted to have a figure of him, so I got him. And like I said, don't regret the purchase, but it's just a way more disappointing figure than it should have been. So if you really like the character, I'd get it. If it's a character you don't have to have in your collection, though, I'd definitely pass. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.